Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. All right, so yesterday I talked about the increasing gas and electricity prices. Well, today, it gets even worse. So I'm going to jump right into this. All right, and I'll get to that one. All right, in Texas. All right. One power supplier told all 29,000 of its customers that they could switch to another provider as spot electricity prices soared to as high as $9,000 per megawatt hour. How much is a megawatt hour? Let me say, I'm single. Most of the time I live alone. Historically, I use about 1.3 megawatts. Living in the South, in Alabama, I was using last year 1.3 megawatts of electricity per month. So at $9,000 per megawatt hour, that would be a $12,000 electric bill. I made reference to people getting $5,000 electric bills, but I mean, literally, that would have resolved my normal usage under conditions that are not nearly as severe as what other people are suffering through right now. My electric bill would have been $12,000 at that price. So, you think it's about time that we nationalize the oil, gas, coal, and industries and the electrical grid? I think it is. Because if these industries were nationalized, then this kind of thing would not be happening. Let me go on to something else here. All right. Portland, Oregon. Now, this has been reported in a few other places, but a Fred Meyer grocery store tossed food into a dumpster during a storm that was knocking out power and limiting access to food for Oregonians. And when this food was at risk of expiring, thrown out in freezing conditions. And when people tried to gather up the food, and look at this, I mean, this is most of this is packaged food. You know, go down here, you look at a lot of this. I mean, look at that. A lot of that is canned food. Okay? So when people came to gather the food because they were in need, the Fred Meyer grocery store called the police to guard the dumpster, so that people would not be gathering up the food without paying for it. Now, here's what most people, this has been reported in a few places, but there's something I want you to notice here. All right, this dumpster, this is not your normal dumpster. This is a construction dumpster. And I live near a grocery store. And I've lived near a number of grocery stores. And they don't use construction dumpsters to throw away food. This is a construction dumpster. Well, there are a couple of rules about that. With a construction dumpster, you can only throw away construction materials into a construction dumpster because they are only contracted to dump in certain areas. The company that deals with those dumpsters. You don't throw food, perishable items into a construction dumpster. And something else I want you to notice. All right? I want you to notice right here. Look at where the dumpster is. It's out in front of the store. It's not back behind the store where your food dumpsters would be. That means that this store literally ordered and got a construction dumpster delivered to that location for the purpose of discarding food. During the storm, they got a construction dumpster delivered to the front of their store to discard food rather than giving it away to people that needed it. So, are we going to keep having the discussion about how this is the greatest country on earth? We're number one. And are we going to keep having these discussions? Are we going to have the discussion about how I'm anti-American because I have more concern for the people that are suffering than I am concerned about the corporation that might miss out on a few bucks? I mean, if they're throwing all this food away, chances are they're closing their door. At least, during the storm. If they weren't closing their doors, well, why are they throwing the food away? There is no reason for that food to be thrown out. I mean, if it was really at risk of someone, getting food poisoning from it, that would be a limited amount, like the packaged meat, stuff like that. But the canned goods, packaged orange juice, things like that were in the images. No, this was all about reaching a date on a label. And again, in the severe cold temperatures outside, that's colder than the refrigerated section inside the store. And they stopped these people and called the police on U.S. citizens for being hungry during a storm, during a time when millions of Americans are laid off from jobs. Make no mistake, most of the people that were there to gather up this food probably cannot work right now, so they're not going to be getting paid next week or whenever their paycheck comes, because the capitalist employers are not going to pay them for not being at work. Some might have PTO, paid time off, and others won't. Look how many people are working part-time, working gig work. They don't have PTO. So am I really, I've been called all kinds of things in the last few years. Been called a Russian asset, anti-American, a traitor, because I care about the people of this country. Which one is treasonous? To call this kind of behavior out? People are going to be going bankrupt because of their electrical bills, because of their medical bills. They're going hungry. They're going without medical care. So, how am I anti-American for caring about these people rather than the corporate profit? Oh, they provide jobs. No, they drive small businesses out of business. They destroy jobs. I've said this before. Most of the jobs in America are provided by small businesses, not large businesses, not corporations. But the corporations are trying to make it so that they are the only employers. And then the number of corporations keep on consuming each other until eventually, what is this, Highlander? There can be only one? What, the umbrella corporation? Is that what we're headed toward? Is that what we're going to cheer for? And then when that one corporation decides you're not worth employing, then what? What are your options? So, I mean, we're dealing with your voices being silenced. I never logged onto the Parler app. But from what I understand, all the allegations about organizing for the insurrection, more of that took place on Facebook. I didn't really see it, but I see people, all the time that are, trying to organize or recruit people to their side for, a violent uprising. And I have nothing to do with those people. I will call them out on it. I'm not far right or far left. I mean, I'm pretty far left leaning, but I'm not an anarchist. I'm not violent. I don't condone violence in any way. But this is being used to silence your voice. During Russiagate, there were people that were taken offline, and I expected it to be used against me. Oh, you're a Russian asset. We're just going to take your voice away from you. The corporate media, so many people say, well, it's the corporations that are silencing you. Well, the corporations own 95% of the media anyway. Every time anything, now it's the Clubhouse app. So they took down Parler. They're trying to take down the corporate media is trying to take down the Clubhouse app. And yeah, we're going to hear some extremist voices. That's part of freedom of speech. You have the option to turn those voices off personally, but I don't want to hear them, have them silenced completely, because today they say this is extremist. Today they say what I'm saying is extremist. They're going to call Jimmy Dore extremist and Glenn Greenwald. They already, look what happened to Glenn Greenwald. Caitlin Johnstone cannot share information, news from Australia, because it is now against the law. Well, yeah, they're putting in a law, and Facebook will not allow her to post her articles on Facebook. How much further is this going to go? Everything is being taken away. Your right to live is being taken away from you. I saw something yesterday about where it was in Montgomery, somebody urging people to buy insurance. I pointed out people are trying to survive right now. You've lost the right to die in peace without being in debt to a corporation. I think basically they were trying to sell burial insurance. But you can't even die without being in debt to corporations. How is this the greatest country on earth? You can't get sick without being in debt for years. You can't have have electricity without going in debt for years. You can't afford food. And if you try to pick up food that's been discarded, you're going to get arrested. How is this the greatest country on earth? Stop telling me that I'm a traitor and that I'm anti-American. What part of America are you in favor of? All right. Share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can, please donate $1 a month to help expand the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.